Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. This is I Allegedly. And I've got a good one for you today because they're holding deposits again. A lot of bank stuff lately. Have you noticed that? A lot of it. Please like, please subscribe. Today we have a sponsor, Noble Gold Investments. But let's get right into it, guys. Marilyn Lovelace. She got a check for $10,000. Her aunt had passed away. Part of her estate, she got a check for 10 grand. What did she do? She went to a local Wells Fargo bank and deposited it into the ATM machine. The only problem was she didn't get a receipt. Nothing really happened. The machine just shut down. So she thought, okay, no big deal. I'll just go in the branch in the morning, which is what she should have done in the first place, and went in the branch. And they said, oh, well, we don't show a record of your deposit. I put $10,000 in there. Well, let us investigate a little more. We'll get back to you. Well, they get back to her and they tell her that there was something about the deposit that was questionable and it was escalated so that they could see if there was anything nefarious going on. Didn't tell her anymore, didn't release her money. Days turned into a week, turned into 2 weeks, her reaching out, and they couldn't tell her anything, wouldn't tell her anything. What did I do? I just deposited a check from my aunt's estate. It finally took her going to Five on Your Side, local TV station that has an ombudsman who deals with things like this, and they got to the bottom of it, and they told them about a bigger problem. The bigger problem is banks are starting to scrutinize larger deposits. Now, during COVID, when I helped people get grant money and PPP money, remember they changed the PPP format to where you could go out as an individual and you could apply for PPP money, put it into your own account, and you could declare yourself, you're only employed for your organization, and you could get a PPP loan. And those, a lot of them, majority, great majority, were forgiven. What happened, and what I saw quite a bit, was people that did not have a relationship with a regular bank or a good relationship with their bank made large deposits, 8,000, 10,000, 12,000. Not a huge amount of money, but a large amount of money for this person. And one woman in particular, $8,800. I will never forget the figure, and it was through Chime. And Chime said, this is totally a suspicious deposit for the activity that you've had on this account. So they froze it. And as of 2 years ago, the woman never got the money. Never got the money. So I don't know how that was resolved at all because it was suspicious. Now, I don't care what kind of relationship you have with your bank. Everyone should do this. I don't care if you have 12 banks you deal with, or two, or one, or whatever. You should walk in there and introduce yourself and say, I'd like to meet the manager of the branch. Generally, between 10 and 12 is a good time. The reason for that is you don't have the first people when the bank opens up and the flurry of people that have to get stuff done right away that needs the manager's attention, but you go introduce yourself to the manager. And the reason for this is I don't care if you have $5 in your bank. If I ever need anything, it'd be nice to put a face to the manager and be able to ask questions, which people don't do. Now, I do this all the time, and I've done it with every single branch. And the advantage to this is that if I ever need anything, or if Marilyn would have walked in with a $10,000 check, hey, is Randy here? Yeah, let me get him for you. Hey, I have a $10,000 check from my aunt's estate, and I just don't want a major hold put on it. Can you help me with this? Sure thing. See what we can do. Let's check the bank. Let's run it through. Check looks good, looks legit. We may have to hold it for a day or two, okay? Which is fine. She doesn't have 10 grand in her account, so that's that. Now, it took that Five on Your Side group to go out and get the money finally released without an explanation, without an apology, without anything from Wells Fargo. I hate Wells Fargo Bank, by the way, because of all the stories. And if you've watched this channel for years, you'll know that we've done stories about them setting up fake bank accounts, say fake auto loans, fake insurance policies, everything. I was the victim of that bank during my divorce. It was nonsense, okay? And again, oh, you're just bitter. No, I'm not bitter. The point is that they don't do things fairly with people. You know, 2 years ago, I did all these banking news stories, after the 2023 debacle with Silicon Valley Bank and all the other banks that were going out of business and teetering. Point was they thought Wells Fargo was going to be the next one. That was what they thought. But again, it wasn't because of their stellar customer service. But part of this was Maryland's problem. Maryland didn't go do this. Now, there are all these banking requirements and banking rules that are changing right now in 2026. They're happening, and in April 1st, there's a new banking law that goes into effect for large banks and how they have to report. The story is below. You can read that through Reuters. But the point is that there's things that they don't talk about. It's la, 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 la. It's over here, but we're not supposed to scrutinize this. Your bank deposits are being scrutinized. Everything is happening because it's not your money anymore. When you put it in the ATM, here's something that most people don't know. There's a law in banking that they're supposed to have a deposit through an ATM machine take no more than 5 business days. Who knew that? I didn't know that until I researched this video. So I've had people, and I've had times in the ATM. Yeah, it's going to be a 10-day hold. Whoa, really? Yeah, it's a large check. Okay. Yeah. Lesson learned. Go in the branch. Go in the branch, guys. But there is a lot more to cover on this. So let me know if you've experienced this. Have you ever had a check held? Have you ever had anything happen that just wasn't right? Now, we've all had shenanigans. I've walked into the bank and I put a large check in once, and they told me it was going to be released on this date. And then I didn't think much about it because that date had passed. And then I go to start accessing money and I have no money in the account. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? Yeah, well, there was further scrutiny needed for the check. What are you talking about? The check's already cleared because I called the people, and by the way, I have another check from them. Oh, yeah, well, let me look into that. So because I did that, I walked in and not would have wrote checks or anything like that. Bing, 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 because they put an additional hold on it. So we've all experienced nonsense. There's more to cover on this. Let's talk about our sponsor, Noble Gold Investments. With all this talk about banking and banking problems, you need to be prepared. Noble Gold has prepared their clients for almost a decade to get ready for what's happening. Gold is money, guys. Silver is money. Contact them today. Let them answer all your questions. 877-646-5347. You don't want to wait till after the crash, after the collapse, and after it's too late. Oh, wow, I should have done something about that. Marge, we'll do it next time. No, do it now, guys. Contact them. $2.5 billion in transactions, clearly doing something right. Their clients are prepared. That's the one thing I love. There's no sales tactics, there's no gimmicks, only straightforward help. Let them answer all your questions. Contact them today. Let them know that Dan from I Allegedly sent you. If you don't want to call, use the link below. Let them send out the free gold and silver wealth guide. I think it's fantastic. I read it. I think it's brilliant. Check it out today. Contact Noble Gold now. Do yourself a favor, your family. You've worked hard for your money. You need to keep it. Contact Noble Gold today. Now, here are things that should concern each and every one of you, and that is banks are changing their rules, their requirements. They're putting more scrutiny on our deposits, and it's our money, guys. It's our money, and because of this fractional banking nonsense, it goes up in a puff of smoke into the bottomless pit of these banks. I did a video about a month and a half ago that did really well. It was talking about how you could take out as little as $200 out of the ATM, and the banks are scrutinizing this. And I went a deeper dive into that video, and I'll share it with you at the end of this video. And it was a deeper dive into how you could, take out as little as $5,000 out of the bank, and the bank could label you doing something suspicious. Now, the rule that has been set up since the early 70s has been $10,000. Taking $10,000 of the cash, what $10,001 requires an IRS form, and you to have that reported in information. Now, I have been inside of merchant banking, and I remember merchant banking 20 years ago. You'd sit inside of a little room, And you'd sit around with 5 or 6 other business people. Some would have checks, some would have cash. The guy that owned the local AM PM gas station would routinely bring, as he told me, 26 to $34,000 a day and 2 bags. Very nice man. And I bought gas from his gas station and Diet Cokes a ton of times. Anyways, that guy was great, but you start to talk to people and you'd see people that were not dressed up, but they had a tremendous amount of cash. And every now and then you'd see the bank do things and say, listen, we're starting to have questions about where this money's coming from. It's one thing when a guy owns a gas station and people were paying, give me $20 on pump 5 day after day after day, but then certain people did things that looked questionable and shady. Now, with that last video, it brought a lot of other YouTubers brought up questions about it. And Lynette Zanger, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, she's got great content, but she's like me. She's a foot soldier that goes out and gets news and business. And she does something very cool where she takes questions from her audience and then answers those questions. And one of them was, hey, have you heard that the $10,000 rules changed? Dan from I Allegedly says it's changed. Well, it's not that I said that it's changed. It's that these banks are secretly doing this. And if you're in border towns and you're in places where you could have drug activity or questionable activity for anything, they're starting to scrutinize things like that more and more and more. That's happening. Now, again, someday I'll be on Lynette's show, I'm sure, and I'm sure I'll have her on mine. But the point is that it's not that it's a written rule that they lowered it to $5,000. No, 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 no. This is what the banks are doing. The banks are stepping up their surveillance on us and making it more and more difficult. They're adding more delays. They're adding, we have, you're in a level 2 breakdown where you need to have a review period. Just like that check that I got deposited where they added a second level of delay, which I don't think that's legal today. I think that one they would have gotten a lot of trouble for. And they won't explain it. It's just what we're doing just to be safe. Don't you want to be safe? This check you deposited may not be any good. And we want to make sure you're not overdrawn in your account. Okay? See what I'm saying? It's shenanigans. But that's how they phrase it. Now, the best one is the world's largest bank, JP Morgan. JP Morgan has increased their activity on questioning deposits by 34%. They're starting to scrutinize more deposits, and it doesn't matter. And what it is it makes no difference if these people are plumbers, lawyers, consultants, have a job, and all of a sudden they get a bonus check. Get a hold on it. My buddy, and I was thinking about this as I was filmed, gets a quarterly bonus check, and one of them was extreme, big, because they just killed it with this one client. And he's like, God, I want to thank you because I walked into the branch and I had met the manager about a week and a half earlier and just said, I got this check coming in, and it was much bigger than I thought it was going to be. And the manager, it was available to him the next day. The manager released the hold and gave it to him the next day. You need more and more things like that, guys. And again, we all hope we get a bonus check. We all hope that we get money flying in from outer space that comes and hits our bank account. But you don't want to be like that Loveless lady, Marilyn Loveless, that put it in the ATM, which was stupid, guys. If you have anything weird, these Chime deals, the PPP loans, everything we've talked about, they're doing this. Now you hear JP Morgan's scrutinizing this. This is going to become standard. 34% more flag deposits monitoring claim. Bank of America is updating their transfer language for their clients. Now, there is going to be a new ACH requirement. If you get paid by ACH, like let's say you get an electronic payment into your account and then you start transferring that money out of your account, they're not going to allow that. Between now and July 1st, they're going to start limiting how quickly you can move money out of your account. Did you know that? Now, for those of you that get paid via ACH or you get a bonus check or somebody transfers money to you, you're not going to be able to just move it to another account. This is going to stop money laundering. Wait a second, Dan, I live in Des Moines, Iowa. I'm not laundering money. I'm getting paid and paying my bills. The idea with it is it affects all of us. And the idea with it is they use the story time of this is to protect you against the bad people. Well, I'm not a bad person. 99.9% of us are not bad people. The point is that This is the nonsense that these banks do, which, because, like I said, the banks are a den of thieves. All they want to do is charge us and take advantage of us, and they can't do it any other way other than raising fees. They've gotten in so much trouble over the last few years by charging excessive overdraft fees, and we've all been there. We've all been broke. We've all had to just get by. But the point is that now they're watching this. And again, even if you're on a fixed income, go out and introduce yourself to your banker wherever you go to. Just wanted to meet you. Yeah, I'm on Social Security, but if I ever need anything, I just would like to put a face to the manager. How about that? No, I've never heard anybody doing this and have them say, God, they treated me horribly, Dan. Oh, they said, what a waste of time. No one's ever said that. No one has ever said that. Federal deposit insurance still is the $250,000 limit. Now, if you're lucky enough to have more than 250 grand, go out and do yourself a favor and make sure you're doing the right thing and that your accounts are protected and you have multiple banks and have it set up so that you're not, worried about losing your money. When I was a boy, my uncle wrote a check to a business and paid his account up in full for construction materials. And the man went and deposited the bank 80 grand. And it was a celebration. My uncle paid it and gave him the $80,000. They had a party for this. They had a luncheon because they didn't know the factory any more money. Isn't that great? Only problem was the bank that, and I want to say the name, but I don't want in case I get it wrong. The bank went out of business, and because the owner of the bank had over $250,000. Oh, excuse me, the owner of the factory had over $250,000. He lost the 80 grand. Called my uncle frantic. Did that check clear your bank? What do you mean? I gave it to you 3 days ago. I'm sure it did. And it did. And the guy lost the money. So prepare yourself, guys. Have a conversation with your bank if you're lucky enough to have more than $250,000. You know, all these horror stories. They're calling it enhanced due diligence. You look scary, Dan. You look dangerous. You know? Suspicious activity review, withdrawal thresholds. Think about this. They're going to start limiting this. Why are you taking so much money out of the bank? Well, I'm going to Las Vegas and I want to meet a bunch of irresponsible women, and I thought $10,000 would be perfect. Well, it seems like a lot for you, Dan. Okay? Now, the liquidity stress is real. They're having bond issues, commercial real estate exposure, and deposit flight like you've never seen. It's funny. This is happening, guys. It's happening. What smart deposits are doing? Spread deposits over institutions. Meet your bankers. Avoid keeping everything in one place. Keep some liquidity. In other words, have cash in your drawer. You have to protect yourself. Please, don't forget we have a private channel where everything's uncensored and shenanigan free. And that's I Allegedly Live. I love doing that content. You sign up at iallegedly.tv. You want to email me, it is hello@iallegedly.com. And I love your stories. Let us know your experiences with this. Have you had any shenanigans with the bank? Every time I do a banking video, I get stories, which led me to this one. And again, all the stories about JP Morgan, 34% more scrutiny. They're not hiding it, guys. This is not like hey, listen, the new deposit rule is this, and the new cash rule is only 5 grand. No, if they think you're doing something wrong, they're just going to hide it from you. Okay? Let me know what you think. Make good choices. Onward and upward. I'll see you soon.